listening to Proof Text, a Glossa House podcast by Dr. T. Michael W. Halcomb, Dr. Fredrick J. Long, Dr. Mario Melendez, Dr. Jennifer Noonan, and J. M. Smith. Welcome and enjoy.
Hello, welcome to Constituent Marking with Fred Long on Proof Text. And I am Fred Long, talking with you and looking at these wonderful verses from 1 Corinthians 12. We're in verses 19 and 20. Wow, we're going to do two verses today, and I hope that doesn't throw you off. But I'll try to read the Greek text, translate, and then mark it up so that those of you who are listening can follow along. Those of you watching can see me mark it up. And so ide ein tapanta en melos putosoma. Putosoma, where the body. Now we've seen this construction, putosoma, in verses, I think it was 17, had that. Where, where's the hearing? Where's the smelling? So grammatically, the putosoma, there is an implied estine. Tosoma is single underlined. So that's the main sentence. Where is the body? Now, of course, to get to that question, we have to understand the subordinate clause setup. Now we have, as we go to the start of the sentence, we have a ide. Now that is a connector that's connecting to verse 18. It's marking distinctive or new development. And so this is the next step in the argument. And it's doing so by way of a conditional clause, E. And I'm going to do the subordinate clause. So both E and the get boxes. I'm using red for the E to mark up the subordinate clause. I'm using red. So de connects to the larger discourse, the previous verse, saying, hey, there's a new thing I'm adding here. There's something new I'm doing, and it starts with a subordinate clause with E. If ein, past tense, was. So if it was, ein is third singular from imi. So present, or actually it's imperfect, indicative third singular from imi. Tapanta is the subject, plural nominative, and that can work with third singular verbs. So that's something that can throw you off. You see a neuter, you see a plural subject working with a third singular verb, and you're like, wait, it's plural going with singular. It doesn't work. But it does work because it's neuter. Neuter does that. Neuter nominative nouns can be plural, working with third singular verbs. That's the default. So if all things were one member, en melos. So en melos is neuter singular nominative and is the predicate nominative. We know it's predicate nominative partly by position, but also because tapanta has an article. And if you're trying to figure out which nominative is the subject, which one is the predicate nominative, the one with the article will be the subject. It will be the one that will translate first into English. So, moreover, if all things were one member, where would the body be? Where is the body? Where is the body? Now, I'm tempted to take this, understand this E clause. It's a protasis. It's part of a conditional sentence. So E with past indicative followed by a present indicative. Well, we don't know. It's implied. There's no verb here. So what is the verb? I'm kind of translating this as if there's an implied on. On would, in the main clause, the apodosis or main clause, if there were an on here, this would definitely be marked as what's called a past contrary to fact condition. And you're like, what is that? It's a fun type of condition. You have present and past contrary to fact. Actually, this could be, rather than past, it actually could be a present. And here we have to go to Koine Greek Grammar, chapter 26, where I walk around the different types of conditional sentences. In short, I can summarize as follow that E with the imperfect indicative followed by an imperfect indicative with on in the main clause, which we don't have here. Maybe it's implied. That could be used for the present tense, present contrary to fact. And a contrary to fact condition is a type of condition in Greek. Greek conditionals are very complex, but it's a way for the author to say, I'm going to lay this out here, but you know and I know, I want you to know that I know this is not true. This is not how things are, but for the sake of argument, I'm going to lay it out there for you. And this could be put in terms of present time frame or past time frame. Now, what makes it difficult to discern the two is that the difference between the two in the construction is that the past contrary to fact can be used with the imperfect tense also, or the aorist tense indicatives, and then the presence of on. So typically you have on in the conclusion, and you don't have that here. So I think, technically we probably have a mixed condition where the E, the conditional startup, is mixing with a different conclusion. But I want to translate it this way. If all things were one part, then where would the body be? If this were the case, then where would the body be? And the implication here is that this is not a real condition. It's a real situation by construction. Like, we know that this is not the case, so we understand that this is not real. We understand this is not, in fact, how things are. So yeah, that's how I would translate. That's how I want to translate this. Another way to translate it is simply like this: moreover, if all were one member, where is the body? Where is the body in that? So I think it's a real question, but it's set up with an understood, unreal premise, namely that all things in a body are not one part, one type of part. So I think it's a mixed condition that starts out with an assumption of falsehood, like this is not true, wink, wink, we know this is not the case, but I'm going to lay it out there. And then he leads it to a real question about the present. Where is the body? And I think it may speak to the reality that's happening in the Corinthians, is that they're having disputes over this presently, and there's a lot of homogeneity going on. They're all kind of imitating the same kind of thing, and then this leads to the real situation. That's an unreal situation, but it's real to them, and it leads to the real situation. A question is, where is the body? Where is the body? Now, when we go to verse 20, we see that we have a nun de pola, de and nun, now. Nun means now. It's a dotted, underlined. Moreover, so de means new development. Moreover, now, on the one hand, so you have a men de construction. So men sometimes can work with de, and one way that we can translate the two working together is on the one hand this, on the other hand that. So I'm putting boxes around de and men and de. I put a dotted box around noon. And then we see pola, which receives a single underline, and mele. So this whole sentence together reads like this: Nun de pola men mele en de soma. So en and soma are single underlined and de. So what is going on here? Okay. So moreover, now, on the one hand, there are many members. So that's true. On the one hand, there are many members. On the other hand, there is one body. So there we have it. That's the profound truth, is that these two things obtain at the same time. On the one hand, many members. On the other hand, one body. So these are verbless clauses, but we can easily supply the verb imi in them. And so that's how we would mark up and translate verses 19 and 20, 1 Corinthians 12. So I hope you found it helpful, and we'll continue next time.
Interested in growing your ancient language skills but not sure where to start? Glossa House can help. From illustrated readers and short stories to lexicons and grammars, Glossa House offers a variety of resources for beginning, intermediate, and experienced ancient language learners. Head to glossahouse.com today. Glossa House, language resources for the global community.